you can access internet, AI is there with you. So we've been having this conversation for quite a long time. And I'm happy that today I'm seeing even the new faces that are here. Just allow me to just stop, and then there's something I'm looking for here. Okay. Yeah. You can be able to see my screen?
I can't see it on my end. Is anyone able to see? Please confirm.
Okay, it's okay, let me see what I'm supposed to, okay, just a minute. Glad to see Dennis Beru here, glad to see, I've seen Mercy, and I'm happy also today I'm seeing some new faces and hearing about people who are doing something different from what I'm used to, which is interesting because part of what you're discussing is a subject that affects all of us. There's Priscilla Mudoni. She said she's working in some school setup. Huh? And before I forget, I wanted to mention that for one reason. Because and this is part of what we are doing as our part in issues to do with technology, issues to do with media, information, and digital literacy. As Media Council of Kenya, we are having a program with the schools. It's called the Media, Information, and Digital Literacy. I don't know, are you able to see now?
Yes, we can see it now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We're having the Media, Information, and Digital Literacy program with the schools, especially schools that are having journalism clubs, for the purposes of just ensuring that in as much as we are in this technology where even a student can access content on phone, they're able to just have the right content. They're able to know if this is not the right content, what do I need to do? They're able to understand what can I share, what can I not share at that young age, so that by the time they grow up, they will grow up more responsibly and be able to just understand what they need to do online and what they cannot be able to do. So that is a program, and if you work in that setup and you will be free or you want more information, maybe on July 18th, I would just share what you're doing on that day. We are having schools in Mombasa, Kwale, and Taita Taveta counties coming together for just a career activity, and we call it an expo. Not really an expo, like, but how would I call it? It's an open day to just discuss issues about the media space, how it's done. We'll also have the old guys who are in media back in the day, the people who used to use the typewriters and stuff, just to understand, for them to understand where we came from and where we are currently. Because at times I'm in spaces whereby I try to explain to people when I got to the newsroom, it was the era where we didn't even have mobile phones, and they were like, okay, how was it working? I tell them about the telephone booth, I tell them about the typewriter, although I found it when it was just facing off. So those are the kind of engagements that really make people appreciate what we are doing and where we are currently. So allow me to just give you a brief of what we are doing as Media Council of Kenya. In brief, we are in an independent statutory body. We were established through an Act of Parliament. That is Media Council Act number 46 of 2013. And this one, in essence, was in line with the Constitution, and it gave life to Article 34 of the Constitution, where we have the freedom and independence of the media. So part of what we do is standards and ethics. We check on how to enforce the code of conduct for the practice for media practice. It was revised in 2025. I'll share a bit about that as well. And then we also accredit journalists, because any journalist practicing in Kenya and even beyond, especially when you come to Kenya, you must be accredited by the Media Council of Kenya, so that you are able to just abide by the code of conduct and some other issues that affect any other journalist in Kenya. And then again, we have a department for press freedoms. So we call it advocacy. We do a lot of press freedom and safety issues for journalists and media practitioners. And of course, because of the evolution, we also devolved and we have some regional offices. One is in Mombasa, another one that is covering the whole of the coast region. We have another in Kisumu region that is covering the larger Kisumu and western region. And then we have another in Meru region that is covering Meru, Nyeri, and all those sides. And then the other one is in Nakuru. So all these offices really help Media Council of Kenya to just be able to amplify our mandate. So we work under these 6 A's. Actually, there are just about 14 functions as outlined in the act that I just mentioned. But now we've condensed them into these 6 key areas. We normally call them the 6 A's. I've talked about accreditation. I've talked about advocacy. Allow me to talk a bit about academy, where we do trainings just to sensitize journalists on what is expected of them. At times, you can come in as a journalist and you don't understand maybe how to cover maybe a health story or how to cover an environmental story. So there are specific courses that we offer as the council to just train journalists on the thematic areas that we also would like them to report on. And on this, we work with partners as well. And then we have advisory. Our CEO, Mr. David Omoyo, sits every year and every financial year, he goes before Parliament to just have an engagement and a discussion with them through the relevant bodies about regulation that is in place. Of course, this is after discussing with industry players and checking on maybe the loopholes, the gray areas, and where they need to improve. So we always advise on the government on where we need to improve for now for the sake of the media industry. The other area is adjudication. We have the Media Complaints Commission, which acts as a body that regulates issues to do with if there are cases that are facing a journalist or a case that is for a media house. If you're a person who has been, you feel that there's a journalist who has reported about you and you feel that the information is not correct, you can come to the Media Complaints Commission. It's also for the journalists. They can also go to the Media Complaints Commission to complain about a source or someone who has maybe hurt them in the course of them doing their work. And then the other area is analysis. We have, we call them the media analysts and the media monitors at the Media Council of Kenya. Every day their work is just to analyze the kind of content that goes out, whether on print, whether on radio, whether on TV, and also on online platforms. So they do this because at the end of the day, if you are someone who produces content, you must adhere by the code of conduct, which I'll share in the next few slides. So they want to check if the content that is out is adhering to the code of conduct. And if it is not, there are very many ways we go about it in terms of just trying to help either an individual or a media house to just be able to comply. And when it gets to a point whereby there are issues that affect a journalist who has reported a case and who has reported a story and it is not factual, there are also procedures and steps that we normally take to just make sure we handle the issue professionally, including now having this case at the Complaints Commission. Please feel free, if you have questions, we will handle them later. Allow me to just go through the slides for now. So what we'll be covering today is the MCK AI framework. And of course, we will have the code of conduct as part of what was discussed on this one. And then we look at print media and AI issues to do with disclosure and the editorial responsibility. We'll also have a bit of a discussion on the visual media and deep fakes. And then we'll also look at the newsroom compliance. These are things that now the media houses are supposed to do to ensure that in as much as AI is here, what are they doing from their end to make sure that they protect themselves? Again, we will look at press freedom and AI in terms of issues to do with regulation. Does it really protect or does it constrain a storyteller? And last week I was in some podcast session and someone was asking me, by the way, this AI thing, imagine I've done my whole story and then I've just taken it through AI to just confirm that my grammar is fine, blah, blah, blah. So why should I attribute Yakua, it's AI that has helped me on this one? So these are conversations that keep on popping up every other day. And because I was told also to handle the Pan-African perspectives, we will also look at just a bit on how Media Council loops all these in the Pan-Africa perspective and the global perspective in terms of how media governance and AI issues are supposed to be handled. And then again, the journalist responsibility, because we talked about the newsroom compliance as well. It's very important.
Sorry, Maureen, are you moving the slides?
Yes, I am.
Oh no, we are still stuck on regulation responsibility of the press.
Let me see. Okay. So sorry. Oh, how is that? Let me see.
Yeah, we're
Let me
still
stop.
stuck there.
Poleni sana. Oh,
Okay, and then you can put it on presentation mode. It presents.
okay. Just a minute. Huh?
All right, that's okay. Feel free to
Just-
jump in. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, continue and ask your question in the chat. We can still answer it at the end as we wait for Maureen to set up her screen.
Okay. In the meantime, you can give me your email address. I share the presentation, the slides. Just in case my slide will not be okay. You can just share it from your end.
All right, so Sawa just doing that.
Yeah, and again, Sonia talked about regulation being very hard at times and rules must be there. But now, how do we really look at it? And I really love that question because she's looking at it from the realistic point of view. So I love that one as well. You've sent the email, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, just a second.
Okay. Yeah, this is what we call technology.
I tell you.
Every time. Should also develop an AI tool for presenting.
Yeah.
It becomes easy. Okay. So feel free to type in your question in the chat box if you have a question. And then as we set up the presentation, we're going to also answer your questions at the very end. And also feel free to tell us where you're joining us from. And do you think AI should be regulated even as we continue with this conversation? And if so, then how? And why? Why should it be regulated, or why should it not be regulated? And by the way, do you guys use AI to create posters? Please type in the chat. Do you guys use AI to create the posters?
Okay, please check.
Okay.
I'm using another version of a laptop that I'm not so familiar with here.
Okay. You shared on email?
Yes, on email.
Not yet. Haven't seen it yet.
You've seen it?
Not yet.
Kamau Sharon, huh?
Yes.
66. Huh?
Yes, at gmail.com. I've seen it. Presenting in a bit.
Thank you. But I also had, was it Joe? Joe talked about the limitations of AI. I remember there's a course that we had some few months ago. Actually, it was a government course for government officers, and it was compulsory for us to undergo through the AI course. And it was really a hassle. Imagine even after the deadline, there are still some people who are still working on that course because they are not even able to like go to platforms like Telegram because they are not able to access Telegram. And those who are able are not even able to maneuver on the main platform for the AI project as well. So there's been a lot of back and forth. And you can imagine how difficult that can get. I'm saying Fazu is saying he loves using AI to create posters. So Sharon, have you been able to?
Yes. Yeah,
get it?
just give me a minute. I am presenting in a bit.
Okay.
Just let me know if you can.
If it's refusing, I can still go back to my side and see if I can project it as well.
Yeah, it's just
Sorry for that.
yeah. We're on in a bit. Please confirm that you can see the presentation. Are we good?
Okay.
Which slide are you on?
I was on the third slide. I can't see the presentation.
Okay.
Can I try sharing on my end again?
Yeah. What about now? Is it visible? If not, then you can share from your end.
Yeah, make it full.
Okay. That's
Thank
where
you.
you are. All right.
Yes, that is where I was. But I was done with the areas about Media Council. So you can go to the next slide. Yeah, I was even done with the what you're supposed to be covering. You can go to the next one. Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that is fine. That is fine. That is slide number 5, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, now on that one, I just tried to look at our journey as the Media Council of Kenya in terms of governance on AI issues. And one of the areas that we have really tried to work on is just coming up with an AI guidelines that would really help media houses, because AI is already here with us. We cannot just say, okay, we assume and we move on. How many times have we seen someone working on a story and then the story is on print, unfortunately. Then after they are done with the story, pale mwisho, you can see something like, if you wish me to, something close to that, and you know, okay, they did that thing. It has happened enough times. So before we really have such cases going on, we decided as Media Council of Kenya to have a task force in place. And this task force was set up in October 2023. And the work was just to check issues AI and media regulation, especially in Kenya. But I'm sure it was also cutting across, and it was from various multi-stakeholder organizations, the media, the technologies, the academia, they were all there. And in January 2024, our CEO, Mr. David Omoyo, received the outputs of this task force. Actually, it was in Mombasa. So that is very, very significant, and because it was a national milestone happening here in Mombasa. Then again, the draft media AI guidelines went for public comment in around January 2025. And we had to consult the industry on how they wanted this to go. Then the Code of Conduct 2025, because I said we have a new Code of Conduct in place. This one was gazetted in May 14th, 2025, and it became legally enforceable within Kenya, and I would even say beyond at times, because it has explicit AI provisions. And we changed the old Code of Conduct because of one of the areas was it had to cover the AI issues that were in place. If you look at now the last area on, I've written WAPC, this is World Association of Press Councils and the East Africa Press Councils. Our CEO, Mr. David Omoyo, is the president for both. So it means Kenya now leads in the global and regional media governance conversation because we have a president who is sitting in Kenya. So you can imagine if we have AI issues and all that, it becomes very important for us just to look at not even the local context, but even the global context as a whole. So just to mention the 4 instruments in passing, this the guide, they give us the general governance framework. Like if you look at the data governance guide, this one is specifically for editorial data. Then the handbook trains journalists specifically on what they need to do, the practical areas they need to work on. And then the social media guidelines, they address issues about the platforms that people are using. So if you look at all of them, they are very complementary. They don't compete with each other. Like for example, the media guideline on use of AI that we developed. This one strictly mandates that there should be human editorial oversight and transparent disclosure so that audiences really understand that in as much as this is there, this is AI. Because I know there are many times you can look at something and you start asking yourself, is this real? Because the levels of where AI has gone to is different from how it started and where it is now. So you realize there's a lot of AI content that goes out, at times that can even pass without anyone knowing it's AI. So there's that element of the loop that has to be there. And then again, I would not overemphasize on these other ones, but allow me to just touch on the data governance guide for media enterprises. This one basically provides a comprehensive framework for just implementing robust data governance practices in compliance with the Data Protection Act 2019. This is another body altogether, the data protection now for the relevant legal and regulatory instruments. And then the other one would be the handbook. Of course, after the task force sat down and came up with the regulations, we must have had an area where we said, okay, we will not just try to look at these recommendations without providing a stepping stone for the journalists to just understand now what do we need to do. So this handbook provides newsrooms with the essential framework for safety covering AI technologies and responsibly deploying AI tools in daily news gatherings. So it serves as a practical roadmap so that they can balance issues to do with innovation, and then they look at their editorial standards and practices. Now they can be able to tell now how they need to balance the two and work on something that is legal and something that is genuine. Please go to the next slide, which will not even dwell so much on. It's just about the code of conduct for media practice. This is how the cover looks like. And I would really ask us, if you have time, to just look for it online. I can even share the link to it, but it's normally a very small booklet, the hard copy of it, that every journalist must have, or any content creator. You should be able to have this and just go through it and understand what you need to have as a journalist or a content creator. It's important. Next slide, kindly. Yeah, so part of what is covered in the code of conduct is we have a section that is dedicated to issues to do with the user-generated content, use of artificial intelligence, and other technologies. So I picked this particular area because at times people really confuse the do's and don'ts. And because it's part of the law now, it says, a person subject to this act shall ensure that the use of AI and other emerging technologies in content creation, 1, is fair and unbiased, 2, does not perpetuate harmful stereotypes, 3, does not compromise accuracy, and 4, respects intellectual property rights. It's quite long, but part B of it says you have to disclose to the audience whenever artificial intelligence has been used in the creation, modification, and or editing of images, videos, or any other editorial materials. So it puts a lot of emphasis on, don't just pass it as your own work. Please make sure you tell people, I have used AI, which is just the legal thing to do. If you go to the next slide, I have tried to look at the code of conduct, the same code of conduct for media practice 2025, the AI provisions I was trying to mention a while back. And you would see one of the areas is disclosing. A journalist must disclose the use of AI tools. Then you need to protect, like you have firm rules on deepfakes, synthetic imaginary, and AI generated misinformation. And then you have to comply with the audit compliance issues, because there'll be fines that will be imposed if you don't comply. And then when it comes to verifying, AI generated content requires human editorial oversight and verification before publication. Of course, there's the issue of moderating and the issue of engaging. Allow me to just move on to the next slide, because I want to finish in the next few minutes so that I give some time for Q&A. So really the 5 pillars on the media guide on AI are basically based on the main key areas that you could really work on. Even if you're not a journalist, you're someone who, maybe you are a communication person and you don't have a communication background, or you don't have a journalism background, but you need to understand the basics when you're also going online. So one of them, you need to understand the legal framework. We have the Constitution, we have the Data Protection Act, we have the Cyber Crimes Act, we have the Copyright and the Defamation Acts. All of them speak to what AI is all about at some sections, and you need to understand what it says. And then you need to understand the application in practice. Issues to do with content gathering, issues to do with production and distribution, issues to do with how you engage your audiences, and then the measurements. So some of the challenges, and I'm happy that I think it was Joe mentioned, there's a lot of opacity with AI. There's a lot of bias, because AI, it uses a lot of, if you've already fed it with enough information, you'll realize it keeps on repeating some of the prompts that you give it. If you give it a prompt about something specific that has already been posted already, it will just give you the same. Machine learning is there. So issues about hallucinations. You remember when AI was there initially, when we started getting amazed about AI, you could see like a lady is there looking very beautiful, and then the fingers are 6, then you know, okay, this is AI. Or the eyes are not on the right positioning, or the nose is somehow looking funny. So that is how people came to realize, okay, this is AI, but the wrong way. And then again, the ethical principles. There are 9 principles which I want to get on to next as I wind up. Then how to approach AI, you need to look at the strategy. You need to look at how you can procure, and then you detect. And then, of course, for your organization, you need to have internal policies and trainings on how now, as an individual or as an organization, you need to work on AI. So allow me to skip on this one, because it's just a summary on the laws that are just mentioned. So Sharon, kindly the next slide. Go to slide 11. Actually, on this one is basically, I just wanted to talk about the Cybercrime Act. I am sure most of you know what happened early this month when Justice Patricia Nyaundi, she struck down some of the provisions of the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Amendment Act, because they said it had to comply to certain issues. So both for the provisions, it was Article 24 and I think 27, they lacked judicial oversight and there was no clarity in some of those articles. So there's a way they say now these ones cannot hold, they cannot stand. Let's go to the next slide, kindly. So the 9 principles that I had mentioned earlier are here. And basically, if you look at it, they tie, Sharon, the next slide, slide 12. Thank you. They tie together with some of the guidelines on the media guidelines on the code of conduct. So one of them is you have to, let me just pick like 4, privacy. Personal data used in AI tools still needs consent. You don't go around posting someone's personal data. They can take you to court and then data protection will be used against you. And then there's the issue of transparency. You need to disclose AI use to audiences, label, and don't hide. It's very important to just declare kwamba this is AI material. Then one area that is very important is human in the loop. A person remains accountable for every published decision. Because let's say it's in print organization and someone has done a story, it has to go through that particular person, it has to go through an editor. By the time we see it on the newspaper, it is something that even the editor knows, okay, in as much as the reporter was in the field, I know the capacity of this reporter and I know what they can be able to report. So it's just important to have the human in the loop kind of situation whereby they still remain accountable for every published work. Then the other one I'd like to pick out is AI assisting the journalist. It does not replace judgment because your integrity still remains. People used to say, okay, when AI is coming, we will be replaced by AI, and you know how that saying goes. Because now it is, if you don't embrace AI, you will not be able to fit in this particular space that you're supposed to survive in because everyone is using AI and people are trying to see how to improve. Let's go to the next slide, which I'll just look at it in summary. So for print, normally you look at one question: who wrote this? It's very important. And then did you tell your readers? You have to disclose. And then you look at the guidelines of the code and what AI says. And then you need to check at the issues about who checked it. Remember the human in the loop requirement. So it means an editor must sign off before now this story goes for publication. It also means the same for radio, for even online platforms. It has to go through someone who is senior so that they can be responsible for this kind of a content. Now, on the next slide on visual media and AI, when seeing is no longer believing. This one, there's a lot of issues to do with deepfake videos, fabricated photos, voice cloning, synthetic news anchors. I saw one in China, like they don't even need the likes of Kina Lulu Hassan. They don't even need the likes of Kina, who else? The presenters that we see on screen. They form their own presenters and they train them on how to just read the news or content that they want to broadcast. So on this, we are looking at, if it's policy, we are looking at the code of conduct again, and there are specific provisions on this kind of media in news and advertising. So it's just important to understand how this could apply. And then again, when it comes to fabricated photos, there's the guidance on AI guide priority domains. Like you look at the deepfakes, there's a way you can always confirm this photo is authentic or not. And then again, because we cannot always assume people can be able to detect this. That is why we always have training sessions to just train people on how to be digitally safe, and how to use AI responsibly in all the platforms they are working on. So allow me to just move on some of the recommended newsroom AI compliance roadmaps. Yeah, so this one, I separated it in 3 phases. I don't think I would have to go through all that because the first phase is basically on just mapping out AI use cases across your organization, because you need to understand at what point do I use AI? as an individual, let's say, or in an organization, at what point would we be using? And then again, now when it comes to the second phase, after you've already identified, you've mapped them out, you need to you run a pre-deployment risk assessment on AI tools. You check, would this be hallucinating too much? Would this other tool be okay with us? Will it be limiting us? Because now different tools have different functions. And then the third phase, you scale, like the public, you publish public-facing transparency notices, and then document all data sources and retention periods. Now, this one is now for those who are well-organized and they use AI on a day-to-day basis. Let's move to the next slide. Allow me to skip this one because this is basically the issues of reverse image search, the issues of lighting and shadow logic, and I'm seeing really time is not on my side. Yeah, we can go to the, on ethical journalist in the age of AI. So the practical framework is just like the other one. You need to verify, first of all. You need to apply extra scrutiny to AI on sensitive topics so that at times when you want to use AI, and AI is not used to maybe Swahili, it is used to English. You need to check, does it bring the actual Swahili words that you want? It's even worse in mother tongue because you'll give it a prompt on mother tongue, it will give you something very different. And then your judgment is always irreplaceable, know that. You also need to protect your sources and data. And then you also need to attribute AI assistance transparently every other time. We will move to the next slide. And I hope this is my last one because now this one is issues to do with AI regulation and press freedom, holding the tension. So when we have the risk of under-regulation, it means there's a lot of content that is outside there that is very harmful. Journalists who use AI, they can use it irresponsibly, they can discredit themselves, there are no standards to it. So that's a very, very big problem. And then again, if we overregulate, there's also a problem of maybe having small and community media that cannot afford compliance as cost, because now it means if we have to look at AI content and every media house has to pay maybe for doing this particular thing, they have to pay, then it means these small media houses will not be able to sustain themselves and already they're struggling. One point I wanted to pick out is government capture of AI regulation, using ethics in quotes to control inconvenient narratives. I would also talk about this cybersecurity, the Cyber Crimes Act, because there've been a lot of controversy around it in regards to why it came in place, some of the clauses that are there. That is why we are still in court and we're having some of those things just thrown out because people feel kuna vile they're not looking okay. Let's move to the last slide. I think on this one, I had mentioned about our involvement as Media Council at the regional level and the global level. Yeah, so allow me to just end it there and hand it back to Sharon. I will not want to go through these numbers because of time constraints. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Maureen. Actually, you're very much on time, considering we had a bit of a hitch when we were beginning, but this has been an insightful session, really. And please feel free to just ask questions and any clarifications. Do you want to know something that was not mentioned? Is there any question that you have? Is there any issue that you've been experiencing while using AI, be it in print, be it in media, even when you're doing your story in the NGOs? What exactly are the questions that you have? So feel free to raise up your hand, ask the question, or you can also just drop it in the chat box. So let me give you a minute to ask that. And in the meantime, there is one slide I had a question on, but I can't remember which one it was. Let me just try to go back and see if I can be able to get it.
It's okay. I can see on the chat, hi Africa, as you look for the slide and the question.
Yeah,
He was agreeing. He said it's about how you prompt it, the design, layout, just your own creativity with AI. Now playing the part of just enhancing it a bit. Actually, let me give you my own experience. I am a student, so at times when the assignments are too much, not even at times, always they're too much. So you have to look for a way to do your work and also ensure that your work is legal and your work is ethical and you've not done a lot of AI. So after you've done your draft, so what I do, I have to feed it on different AI platforms just to check. First of all, I can use Grammarly. I can use Cloud. I can use up to 4 of them. By the time I come out with my final product, and then I compare it with my original, and I ensure that I don't lose the exact meaning and the exact content that I was working on. So yeah, I agree. You have to like play around with everything and anything as long as you're very careful on what you're prompting it with. Thanks, Kimani. Glad to see you here. Sharon, did you find your question?
Yes, it's here. All right, let me just, okay. So the question is,
It's okay, you can go on. I mentioned Kimani because Kimani works with me on some other spaces on media viability.
okay. So my question was, I don't know what is happening to my phone. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you
you
hear
can.
me? Oh, I don't know what was happening. Seems like someone was calling me. Okay, so how can regulation protect the public from misinformation without limiting the freedom for innovation and also expression? Because sometimes, as you said earlier, AI really hallucinates. So yes, that was my question.
Okay, how regulation can protect
Misinformation.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's a good question. Generally, part of what I mentioned, part of what you're asking, I mentioned in one of the slides, and I mentioned it in passing. But again, there's a lot of what we need to do in terms of how we handle AI and regulation. In this case, you look at it primarily on, let's say, how we enforce platform accountability, for example, and require, let's say, issues to do with tracking. So there are very, very many frameworks. One of them you could look at is the issue of maybe the public would not be able to understand some of the dangers they would go through when they go into AI things. So remember I started with media information and digital literacy. That is one area as Media Council we work on, just to make sure we try to sensitize the public on the regulations in place, the requirements in place, especially the younger generation that is coming up. Because where we are, for us, I will not say we are very safe, but at least we know we can try and be better at any particular point. And then again, there are issues to do with the different legal frameworks that are in place. So you look at them in terms of how do we make sure these different frameworks reach out to even yule mama mboga wa mashinani, so that they understand, in as much as AI is there, it could be very harmful in what I try to consume. We might say today, let's say the grassroots woman might not have a mobile phone or a smartphone, but still there's a way AI will affect them in one way or the other. So there's always been that challenge, and I'm sure Dennis Beru, you're still the chairperson of AGK, the Association of Grassroots Journalists Kenya. So I know for you, your part has always been the challenge between how do you balance now your local communities, and now those who have gone ahead and they have advanced in terms of technology. So you need to look at all your audiences and understand what do we structure for the different audiences that we want to work with. Yeah, that is what I would say. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yeah, you have. Thank you. Thank you so much, Maureen. Anyone else with a question? Even as we prepare to wind up.
Yes, I have a question to Maureen, and of course we've talked about the guidelines that the Media Council of Kenya established in 2023. I'm worried because most of the media houses, both mainstream and local media houses, some don't know the existence of these guidelines. And do you have plans to help these media houses, especially the community media spaces, establish the AI editorial guidelines? Because we might be having very nice policies on paper, but now kwa ground unakuta vitu vinakuwa tofauti. So
Somebody different.
yes, so I just want to know, and if there are media houses ambazo pengine zilisaidiwa in coming up with the AI editorial guidelines, which are they, and kama kuna plans to have others, do you have those plans? Santi.
Thanks, Beru. That's a critical, very, very critical question. As Media Council, because I said that the Code of Conduct for Media Practice 2025 is a document that we've really been trying to make sure all media houses, all journalists, all content creators are aware of. One, because it covers the AI areas that I mentioned. And your question is very critical because you would find many media houses don't have even these AI policies, because this is a new area for most, the same way that AI is. And in the same way, we always go around asking if these media houses have basic policies. Imagine you could go to a media house and they don't even have an editorial policy. They don't even have a gender policy. So you can imagine if we tell them to have an AI policy, that would be an overreach on our end. We cannot just assume that they can do it. So what we do, we partnered with various institutions, and even internally, we try to reach out to these media houses and help them package something that would help them as a policy in place, as guidelines in place. But now the general guidelines we have is the AI guidelines in the newsroom, the booklet that we came up with, the one that I mentioned in one of my slides. So that one is very basic. We could use them. You can also look at that one to now, in your own capacity, try to tailor make something that fits your arrangement. Because again, we would not be overambitious and be too political to say we'll approach all newsrooms to be able to just help them come up with these policies. But because I know you, Beru, and you have my number and you have my boss's number, if you know the media houses that are in need and they want this, please reach out. I am sure we will always look for something for them. At hapa mashinani, I've tried to work with a few media houses just to try help them come up with those policies. So yeah, it's doable.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Maureen, and thank you, Dennis, for the question. I can get one person to ask the question, then we can close the question session. Yeah, we always love to finish on time, so we didn't want to keep us waiting here. So are we good? All right, seems like there's no more questions. Any other question? Going once, going twice.
I think I should
And
also
there's no
ask a question.
Right. Yes, please
Yeah.
ask a question.
how AI is affecting any content creator, any journalist, any communicator. How is it affecting them? Just a very short answer.
Both positively and negatively.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yes, let's hear those answers. You can type in the chat. We can also hear your voice.
Oh, these ones are good. They're not affected by AI.
Yeah, they're typing.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, I feel like AI has affected me positively because it's easier for me to do things now. I can schedule a lot of content, a monthly content. I can also come up with a schedule and just do it ASAP without having to really think about it. So
Sure.
for me, I would say that AI has affected me positively, and I'm looking forward to its advancement.
Yeah, right. I'm also in the same space. I agree. There's something from
Yeah,
Kimani.
yeah. He says when I use AI to clean up a copy, I feel like I have cheated.
Kimani, I know the years you were born. Don't worry, me and you, same WhatsApp.
Why is that? I mean, here to help us. You should not feel guilty about it. I think this question everyone should answer. Let me call you guys to answer this question. And I'll start with let me see what's not up today. Solomon.
Hi, Sharon. Hi,
Hi.
everyone. I was just about to even type on the chat box, but it's okay. I feel, I think for me, it goes two ways. Like you've said, it has been positive in the sense that you now get to do your content calendars way easily. You get to even schedule post. Like personally, I am currently on leave, but now for the next week, I know I've already scheduled some content that will go without me necessarily being at the office, which is great. But also on the flip side, it goes to say now you have to be more careful as you maneuver the communication space because you don't know like what could be, it's not like the years past that anything written could be, there's a higher percent of it being true, but nowadays you have to be really cautious with the content you are engaging with to actually know if it is either true or maybe a deep fake. So yeah, I think for me I've seen it uh in both angles, and also I think also for me a bit kind in a way it kind of makes you lazy. I feel more lazy in a way, but also looking at it on the flip side again, I get to do more work, which again kind of battles now the lazy ideology as well. Yeah, I think that's for me.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Solomon. And I agree with you 100%. I can pick two more and then I'll read the chat so we can have Ruth Owino. Ruth, Ruth, I don't know if you're in a position to talk. Okay, Ruth, are you in a position to talk? So let me look for someone else, one more person, and then we end this one. Sylvia. Hi, Sylvia. Nani kama bado wanatafuta their microphones. Elvira. Elvira, how is AI affecting you positively or negatively?
Hello. Thank you for the amazing presentation, Maureen. I think for me, being a gender specialist and advocating for social inclusion, I like the laws that are in place to ensure there is fairness and equity in all aspects, especially when now we are using the AI tools, and also when we are looking at safeguarding matters, say we are dealing with underprivileged or the children, for example. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Elvira. And then finally, we can have Aura. She's called Aura. Yeah, I think I got the name right. Yes, Aura.
Hi everyone. Yeah, my name is Ora Knight, and I love than the negative. It has supported my journey in digital marketing, doing a lot of research. Yeah, and it has really improved my professional communication. Yeah, I'd say that for today. The negative part is over reliance, because sometimes you tend not to think. You just go to AI and it will do the thinking for you. Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Yeah. And as Solomon says, it makes us lazy. We don't want to think for ourselves. But anyway, yeah. So thank you very much for this wonderful session. I mean, Maureen, thank you for the wonderful presentation. Now we know the regulations, and I feel like it's also a challenge for us to also like actively read what regulations are there, and just to get to understand what exactly does the MCK require of us, communication expert journalists who are using the media, the AI. And thank you everyone also for participating. This is actually the last session. We've had 6 sessions so far on the AI and storytelling masterclass. And of course, what a good way to end it on regulation and matters ethics. So asante sana, Maureen. Let's appreciate Maureen one more time with our emojis. Please appreciate her. Appreciate her. Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, I can see. Nice, amazing. Asante sana, Maureen, for the wonderful presentation. Thank you for coming up and just teaching us. It's long overdue. We needed to understand this thing.
Thank you.
Yes, karibu sana. And also to each one of us who has attended the session, asanteni sana for attending. And of course, for those of us who would like to get to know us, you can check us out in the socials at Daytan Consultancy, at Instagram at Daytan _KE. And then we have an amazing event coming up in Mombasa. So for those of us in Mombasa and would love to attend this event, please make sure you do and attend. This and more conversations will be going on in this particular event. You can register here to attend, and we hope to see all of you there, from Nairobi, from Kisumu, from everywhere, even outside the country. Please feel free to attend. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, so feel free to attend. It will be good to have you. We'll have a lot of people there, including Maureen, and AGK will also be present. And yeah, so it's just good to have all of you here. And asanteni sana for joining this wonderful session. And yeah, I think we can end it at that. We are past 12 minutes. We are supposed to end at around 9. And we've taken a few more minutes, 12 minutes, and it's just good to see you here every single Thursday. And yeah, let's see what the future has for us. Maybe we might roll out another masterclass. Oh yeah, there's another masterclass coming up purely for content planning, for work plans, and just how to plan your social media management, and I mean just how to do social media management. And it's going to be a very intense one and a hands-on training whereby at the end of the training you need to come out with your communication work plan, and two, to come out with your communication, your content calendar for the day. We are going to roll out in August, immediately after the event. So in August we start the social media management class, a very intense and hands-on training, and I hope you guys will be there, and it's good to see all of you here, and it will be good to see all of you there. So thank you very much for joining. In case there is no one who has anything else to say, allow me to close the meeting at that. Yes. Anyone with something to say? Anyone? Going once? Going twice? Okay, sawa sawa. Thank you very much, and have a lovely, lovely night ahead.
Good night. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Good night. Bye.